Greetings and good evening. Welcome to this broadcast. Of course, this is a special edition, unlike the others that we would normally do during our Arm of God session, which would be Apostolic Reforming Movement session. This is geared towards bringing to your attention further matters relating to this recent upheaval that we've had regarding lesbians, gays, bisexual and transgender students being cited in the schools here in Guyana. Would you please let me know if you can hear me clearly and if the video is also fine, because I'm using a different device. So I just want to ensure that you can hear me clearly and that the video quality is good, especially the audio quality. If you hear me clearly, let me know, because I want to ensure my lavalier microphone is working. And then we can speak. Sound is clear? Great. Excellent. Thank you so much for the feedback. Good evening and welcome. So please, if you don't mind, like we know there are certain people who do not receive notifications that I'm live. So if you do not mind, can you share this broadcast with them? You can invite them to view as well. Thank you, Lord. I appreciate the feedback from all of you. Great. Thank you all so much. I appreciate that. Excellent. Good. Okay, so the quality is good. You love the thank you, Brother Michael. Technology gets better every day, I guess. Thank you. So we are going to this evening have what I hope to be a conclusion drawn to this matter of lesbians, gays, bisexual and transgender students. Oh, good, Pastor Mel, you've upgraded. That's what I'm talking about. No issues tonight. I'm so glad. Thank you. It is extremely sad that there is even cause for such a broadcast to be done. It is extremely saddening that we can come to a place here in Guyana, South America, that requires my having to give clarity to a matter of this nature. But I don't mind doing it. There has been an update given to those of you who follow me regarding the public protest we had. It was a part of Capital News. They covered the matter. And there are persons who are claiming that I and others would have misinterpreted what would have been said by the director of the Child Care and Protection Agency. I'm here tonight to give redress to certain statements that are being made and to make my position public and pellucid. You shall hear from my position, from my platform, where I stand regarding this matter of bullying. There is continuing to be, if you observe carefully, there's a continuation of the efforts made by a certain group of people to spread the cancer of perversion across the nations of the world. Barack Obama, he was bold enough to say it without reservation that his agenda is to ensure that the LGBTQ, IWV, all these different groups, that their rights and their freedoms are exercised across the world. If we observe, you'll see that the Bahamas is now with the Bahamas Christian Council. I'm so glad that at least there's a council who is beginning to show up, unlike the Georgetown Ministers Fellowship here in Guyana, and who are prepared to confront these people and let them know that we are unprepared to accept you're telling us what is morally right, or you're telling us what we should and should not accept. There is a deliberate effort afoot, if you haven't realized it as yet, for this perverted agenda to find its way across the societies of the world. What is we focus on this evening would be the matter regarding the new term LGBTQ students. That is what I'll address. Because as long as you begin to tell me or suggest, I thought that the mere mention of LGBTQ students by the Minister of Education first in 2018 would have caused an uproar in this society. But it seemed as if persons were absolutely okay with hearing the mention in this country, Guyana, of students, no age range given, students in general, being lesbians, gays, bisexual, and transgender, as well as queer, inquisitive, inquiring, all the rest of it. Saints, if you are, brothers and sisters, if you are, fellow Guyanese and those of you watching from around the world, shalom. Shalom to you. If nothing is done, if no one rises to say that we are unprepared to have our children classified by perverts, we'll have a problem. Now let me know if the broadcast is fine, because like I said, it's a new device I'm using. I'm not sure whether you're clear, because I'm seeing from my end that I'm just getting messages about who's watching. Let me begin, as long as we're clear. Are we good? As long as we are clear, as long as you're hearing me well, as long as you're seeing me clearly, let me commence the topic at hand. Should there be laws in place to protect lesbians, gays, bisexual, transgender, and queer students? My unrelenting, uncompromising position in this matter begins here. The first thing is where, and I'm going to speak this evening from policy and law. I'm not speaking for you from the Bible, because most people will come to say, well, everybody's not Christian. So since everybody doesn't go to church, I'm not speaking to you from any church perspective. I'm speaking to you from a perspective of policy and law. Thank you. Okay, great. If anyone is going to mention in this country, beginning with the Minister of Education, Nicolette Henry, if you're going to mention lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning students, then there has to be some document within the Ministry of Education that gives provision for these terminologies to be attached to our children? There is none. There is no policy document. There is no policy document that defines our children in the school system as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, whatever else you want to call them. If there is no policy document to this effect in the Ministry of Education in Guyana, how can the Minister of Education define our children by these terms? There is none. Who permitted the infusion of terminologies that relate to sexual orientation? Who permitted this infusion into our school system? The ultimate authority in law for Guyana is what you hear me speaking to all the time. It is our Constitution. The Constitution of Guyana is the most authoritative document in this nation. Now, I know that politicians have recently made you realize or feel that the Constitution is absolutely worthy of being played with and toyed around. Now, if we have a constitution, and attached to this constitution, or part of the constitution, are laws that govern conduct in society, and that document has within it, or an arm of it, a document called the Criminal Offences Act. There's a document called the Criminal Offences Act. That document governs every person, every creature in Guyana, South America. No one is exempted from the tenets, the articles that bind every Guyanese, every foreigner, whatever you are. The Constitution has attached to it what is called the Criminal Offences Act. Let me read the act for you. Then you shall tell me whether there is need to define a child as something that is illegal in terms of conduct, and then say the child must be protected from being bullied. According to the law, Article 352 of Guyana's Criminal Offences Act, it states, and I read, any male person who, in public or private, commits or is a party to the commission or procures or attempts to procure the commission by any male of any act of gross indecency with any other male person shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and liable to imprisonment for 2 years. That's the first part. Any male who, you don't have to do any physical anal penetration. Any act which includes kissing or holding some male's hand in some affectionate manner, that's considered to be indecent, that person has committed a crime. The Criminal Offences Act, Article 352, does not say that if a student is identifying himself as gay, then that student must be protected The act labels that student a criminal. Let's just get this clear. The Criminal Offences Act labels the behavior, the attempt to commit the act, as being illegal. Within the Guyana society, they're what we call school for boys' schools, they call it back in the day, or girls' school. They're juvenile detention centers, they're juvenile centers. So if there are criminal behaviors among children, they are sometimes, depending on the weight of the act, they are sent to these detention centers. Why? Why must there be suggestions from Greg Requin, the British High Commissioner here in Guyana, and anybody else? Why should there be suggestions that the children who are defined by law to be criminal, even if it's their proclivity, even if it's just a hint, why should these children be targeted for special protection? Why? Which other group of criminal children in the school system is targeted for protection? Did I hear anybody say that if a Rastafarian child were to bring 10 grams of marijuana to school and he wants to smoke it in honor of his God, he should be allowed to smoke it in the class? They'll say no. Did I hear anybody say that if a Muslim child wants to, while the teacher is speaking, he wants to put his mat on the floor, turn to the east and pray in the classroom, is he allowed to do that? No. Somebody said they didn't get notification. See that? I'm so sorry, dear heart. I don't know what's happening. Therefore, if certain categories of people, let's go further. If a child who is called a kleptomaniac, if a child likes to steal and the child goes around picking people's things out of their pockets, is that child protected, or is that child withdrawn from the classroom, sent for counseling, and probably, depending on the gravity of the situation, sent to this school for at-risk and troubled children? The Constitution says that stealing is a crime. Therefore, if a child steals, that child has committed a crime. They are therefore going to be dealt with according to the nature of the act. Now, our Constitution, our Criminal Offences Act, does not say that children are exempted. If our children are not exempted, they are included in the group of people who should not exhibit this behavior. How can any responsible adult say to me, because I'm doing this broadcast now, because of what was ventilated, some persons are of the view that these children should be protected because they may not be doing anything physically. And that's a new moronic suggestion that I'll address right now. There is a suggestion that says that the definition is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and the rest of it. The defense is that they're not committing any act. They're just identifying themselves as that. Now, let me address that because I know some of you are on the broadcast and I'll deal with you tonight. How can there be a transgender? Because I didn't say it. You, the Director of Child Care Protection said it. Well, of course, you retracted certain statements and I'm glad that you did. But some of you still continue to say it. So I'll address you. And Gregory Quinn, the Minister of Education Guyana, and all of you. How can you say to me or anybody that a person, a student in our school, they're not doing the act, so we shouldn't treat them as if they're criminals? Fine, well, let me ask you the question then. How can there be a transgender student by your definition if he or she is not transgendered? I didn't say it. Y'all told me that the children are not doing anything. They call LGBTQ, but they're not involved in these things. So how can you have a transgender child if the child is not transgendered? Answer that. Tell us all. Bring your wisdom to the platform. Can there be a transgender without them committing the act of transgenderism? I'm not speaking to surgical procedures and all of that. So you're saying to me then that in our school system, a boy, if he feels like a girl, should wear a dress or the female uniform and walk into the classroom, and he must not be bullied. He must not be harassed. He must be allowed to wear what is female. Well, let me help you Guyanese, because I thought that you Guyanese had a lot more sense than you've exhibited, but some of you don't. Why do you have, when my child go to register for a school, when I go to enroll my child in school, you said that there is a male uniform and there's a female uniform. You said that. You said that the boys wear certain clothing and the girls are dressed a certain way. You said that. Why did you say they're boys and girls uniform if there is nothing that prohibits a girl dressing like a boy? Is my daughter permitted to dress like a male student and attend Queen's College? If you say she's not permitted to dress like a male student, then you are discriminating based on your own definition. You are harassing based on your definition. You are bullying her because you're using aggression to stop an action. To have your will since you're stronger than she is. Bullyism initially is a stronger person exercises their will over a weaker person to the detriment of the other party. Imagine in Guyana, Guyanese, adults, females, mothers, you are suggesting that transgenders must be protected from what? Do you know that the thought is that we're saying that, oh, let them beat these children, let them harass the children, let them do whatever they want to do to the children. First of all, let me tell you, the children should not be in school in the first place. Any person, anyone who is a child in Guyana and wants to say I'm a lesbian, I'm a gay, I'm a homosexual, I'm a bisexual, I'm a transgender, I'm queer, you shouldn't be in school. You should be treated exactly as they do those who wield knives and guns. You should be taken out of the classroom because your actions, your words are suggesting that you are likely to commit a crime. Is there anyone who would have discouraged these students? I'm waiting to see, because if they came with reports now, they came with rebuttals and they issued statements to say that nobody's encouraging this behavior. That's what they said. Nobody is encouraging this behavior. Well, if nobody's encouraging the behavior, can you please tell me at your Pride Day, your Spirit Day, sorry it is called, at the Spirit Day event held at the British High Commissioner's residence, Gregory Quinn, can you tell me if Gregory Quinn, Anne Green, or anybody else discouraged the act among children? None of them did. Not one of you did. If you did not say publicly, listen, Children, you should not be involved in these behaviors. This is unacceptable. This is not right. You shouldn't do this. If you had done that, then there would be no cause for this broadcast. But none of you did it. Not one of them said that it is unacceptable. All said that the children who label themselves as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and others should be protected from other children bullying them. I'm waiting for one of you brilliant ones to tell me, how can there be a transgender child without the child being transgendered? You added a T to the list of descriptions that you give and of sexual orientations. So tell us, how can we have, if the gays aren't buggering, the lesbians aren't fondling one another as females, the bisexuals are having sex with male and females, they're not doing that. They're just saying that they are. Well, how do you defend the transgender one then? Because you cannot be transgender unless you're transgendered. It is a disgrace. In the same manner that the vote of no confidence had us looking like a group of fools across the Caribbean and the world, where people cannot count that 33 is greater than 32. This is exactly how foolish it looks when people are saying that, oh, no, we're not encouraging the behavior among the children. We're just saying that there are children like that in the school, but we're not encouraging it. So what are you doing then? Where is the discouragement? Should these groups of children be protected, you should not have the group in the first place. There should be no labeling of that group in the first place. We should not have a label in our schools as lesbian, gay. Do you label thieves in the school and protect them? So that's the law. That's the first part. Section 353. Everyone. Section 353 of the Criminal Offences Act, I read, quote, everyone who A, attempts to commit buggery, B, assaults any person with the intent to commit buggery. That happened in school the other day. Who protected that child? Or C, being a male indecently assaults any other male person shall be guilty of a felony and liable to life imprisonment for 10 years. 10 years. Let that marinate. Now, there are those who are so smart that they're saying that the children are not doing it. That's what I'm saying to you again. They're saying the children aren't doing it. Do you follow every child in this country home to see what they do or they don't do? How do you know the children are not committing the act? You're seeking to lessen the effect of your statements on this nation. Because there's a reaction. You want to quell the situation, to say, no, the children aren't doing it. Who said so? Give us evidence to prove that you know exactly what you're saying, that you have a tag on every child who says I'm lesbian, that you can prove that they don't follow through with the act. You know you're lying. How do I know you're lying? There was a case that was ventilated in public of a grown man being seen photographs with a boy, 15 years old. And then he said live with Travis Chase that he likes boys. Remember that? The Child Care and Protection Agency got involved and they recommended charges be filed based on their investigation, because based on the investigations that was reported in the news, there was sexual conduct between the two. So how do you tell me that the children aren't doing it, but there's one who did it, according to Child Care Protection Agency? That matter was before the court. It's now all quiet. Do you remember that the head of an entity that governs these sodomites said that little boys mean men, when the court found out, the investigators found out it actually was a boy indeed? The law is here to protect the society from moral harm. The law is present to govern the conduct of all, not a few special people being exempted. The law governs the conduct of all. Have you taken time to note that no one, Gregory Quinn, the Minister of Education, nor, and I would, in fairness to her, Anne Green said she does not support the behavior. So fine, she's exempted from this now. If she decides to return with some other statement, then I'll obviously include her in the equation. Have you noticed that there's not one of these adults said that there is some age that they could even begin to describe a child as lesbian? So they're saying to you that in the nursery school, your daughter could say she's lesbian. Your son could say he's gay. In the nursery environment, in the basic preschool environment, because they're students. In the elementary school environment, in the primary school environment, your child, they're saying a child can say, I am gay, I am lesbian, I am transgender, and that child must not be bullied. Because there must be special laws to protect this group of people. That child should be extracted from the classroom, because according to the law of Guyana, that child is a threat to others. That's the law. That child should go for counseling. That child should have the parents brought in to say, your child has a problem. Your child is inclined to commit a criminal act. That's so true, Reginald. Money is behind it, but I'll address it anyway. Where are you, church people? Where are you? Where are you people who been hollering on Guyana is a blessed nation? Do blessed nations behave that way? You said that this is a blessed country. Would a blessed country expose its children to this behavior? I am saying to you, my position coincides with the law's position. And the legal position is that anyone, everyone including your child, who exhibits this behavior is guilty of a crime. That's my position. I don't protect criminals. You prosecute criminals. You don't protect criminals. Criminals are prosecuted. Now, the penalty may be less severe because it's a child, but there is penalty nonetheless. There is no criminal in Guyana who's protected from bullying. You're prosecuted. You're not highlighted for special favors. How can you tell me? After hearing what the law states, I read 354 for you and 355. Section 354 and 355 of the law states that everyone who commits buggery shall be guilty of a felony and liable for life imprisonment. Everyone. You want to do it to women, you're equally guilty. You are committing a felony and you should be jailed for life. That's the law. You don't like it? It's still the law. Do you understand that if any child in the school system hears that the Minister of Education says, I'm willing to protect any lesbian, any gay, any bisexual, any transgender child, immediately a child thinks it's okay for me to do it. Don't be stupid, because you know that. You know that. You know that if a child hears, I'm going to protect you, obviously the child feels that what I'm doing is right. So let's paint a scenario. If a child likes to go to somebody's yard and they like to take the people's things out of the yard, items out of the yard, and bring it to your house, the neighbor, upon seeing the child, grabs the child by the collar, say, "What you doing in my yard?" Let me tell you how these morons are reasoning. These morons. You're saying to us, if you stand and say to the neighbor, "I'm going to protect my child from your bullying the child," will the child believe that stealing is wrong? Does the child have, at a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 9-year-old, 5-year-old, would that child have the slightest clue that stealing is wrong if you tell the neighbor, don't harass my child. I'm prepared to protect my child from your bullying them for stealing. Does that make stealing something a child would want to withdraw himself from doing and prevent himself from doing? Don't try the smokescreen approach. If you stand to tell a child in the presence of the society, we are prepared to protect you based on your sexual orientation, the child then hears from you, it's okay to do it. Let's not forget that this same leading sodomite group would have shared on their platform a video link of two boys being in love. And the hashtag was "Love is Love." So you could share a video that shows two boys in love, but you're not promoting this behavior among children? If there's one thing I do not take lightly, and those of you who know me well know that very well about me, I do not tolerate people seeking to insult my intelligence. I will deal with you in every possible way that makes you realize you're not going to get past me with that foolishness. You cannot tell me, there's none who can tell me that if you tell a child you shall protect them in the midst of their behavior, that you're telling that child you're against the behavior. It is an absolute lie. Let the record show, please. And I always tell you, it's on record. You who say this, ensure that your child, your grandchild, your great-grandchild, your nephew, your niece, whoever they are, does not find their way anywhere close to my child to express any of those lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender behaviors. I am telling you, for your sake, don't let them venture around my child. Let the record show that I said it. Don't. If you believe that your son could be a little hen, keep your hen away from my child. You will not be happy with the outcome. I am a father who is prepared to die protecting my children. You will not ever bring that to my child and think that life is okay. Have you forgotten that the United Nations prohibits any form of sexualizing of children? Like, your memory is shallow in this country, huh? You don't remember these things, do you? It's called child abuse. If you expose any child in this country to anything sexual, suggesting that, okay, then you're a lesbian, you're gay, you're bisexual, that is called child abuse. So wait, that goes out the window now. Children, according to the United Nations, are never supposed to be exposed to this. Who then decided it doesn't matter? Let's go ahead. Thank you, my brother Curtis. No one, I don't care who you are not going to come around my child or my children with this behavior. I will oppose it to my death. I'm not afraid of any one of you. You should know that by now. I am the least concerned about your modernized garbage, because what you're trying to do is to make people believe that what you actually say is not what you said. The fact that you label a child lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, it means you acknowledge the behavior or the proclivity to do it. You will not label them as something you're not inclined to do. If you label a child in the school system from nursery school, those in the US may not, nursery begins at 3 years, 9 months. 3 years and 9 months old, you people are saying a student can say I'm lesbian and be a 3-year-old in Guyana. And the preachers are quiet. I have not heard a word from the Georgetown Ministers Fellowship. I have not heard a word. Because what did you see? All you saw probably is children should not be bullied. You didn't see the special group who should not be bullied. Let me bring you, please, those of you who are not so in tune with what these perverts do. They have redefined the word bullying. I hope you get this. And this part may be the most important part of the broadcast, for some of you to understand why your ignorant expressions should not have been had. In the same manner that the word gay, which means to be happy or joyful, was taken by perverts, tagged to themselves to mean a man who has sex with another man. That's what gay means. In the same manner, the word bullying has been redefined, has been twisted to direct itself to these perverts. When you hear the word bullying nowadays, those of you, I excuse your ignorance, but after today I would not. When you hear the word that a child should not be bullied in school, it does not mean the same thing as when we were in school. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, bullying meant something totally different from what it means today. Know that and note that, please. If you are an older person and you're saying a child should not be bullied, you are not speaking the sodomite language. You're using the word, but you do not understand what they're saying. My responsibility is to rid some of you of this pit of ignorance that you're in, because you have not come to realize what you're doing, that you're being set up and dragged into a group that makes you equally guilty. Bullying years ago meant that a person who is stronger exercises their strength by aggressive, harassing behaviors on a weaker individual. That's what bullying meant then. Bullying today means that if somebody says that a man says that I am a woman, if you say no you're not, you've bullied him. Just get to know that. Bullying today means you must agree with me or you're a bully. If you don't accept what I say to you, you're a bully. So my question is, who's really the bully? Because if the man tells me he's a woman and I say, no, you're not, who's being bullied? He's telling me I must call him what he isn't, and forcing me to say what I shouldn't. Get it clearly, please, because I'm saying to you again, some of you, based on your colossal ignorance, have said things just emotionally, you don't understand what you're saying. I'm now telling you what bullying means. So should a child in the school be bullied by homosexual terms? Yes. They should be told that what you're doing is nasty. Don't bring that around me. Don't wear a dress if you're a boy. They call that bullying. Are you telling me, some of you, I know that you're watching me and you know I can see you watching me. Are you now saying to me that your child should be cheering on a boy who comes to school with a dress and saying, wow, you look so nice? Because if he doesn't say he accepts it, he's called a bully. Are you telling me? Now, you had a lot to say on my page before, some of you, so say it now. Are you all saying that you prepare to protect children doing that? So you're going to tell the class, don't speak about Johnny wearing a dress today, it's not right. In Guyana? Do you understand that these buggermites are seeking to take away your freedom of expression, your freedom of speech? You have a right to express displeasure. That's the law. They're saying if you express displeasure, you're bullying. And you saying that you would protect them from bullying. You don't even understand what you committed yourself to. I repeat, based on the sodomite's definition of bullying, my child must bully any sodomite. Because you're not going to come around and tell me it's okay. So you want to call it bullying? Call it what you want. My child will not accept your behavior. Call it bullying, but they won't accept it. Isn't that what they did with the word love? Remember? And hate? If you say you're not supposed to be buggering a man, you're called a hateful person. That's hate speech. You shouldn't do that. You're hurting my feelings. That's what we're dealing with. Criminals in this group are no elitist. You're no special set of people. You are deranged mentally, you need help. That's all the protection you need. Help. By telling you the truth. Why must my child sit and accept your son coming to him to say that he likes my son? And if he objects to it and grabs him and says, don't bring that to me, you're a bully because you didn't accept my advances. No, my son is a law-abiding citizen because the law says your child should be in jail. He should be taken to the office. It should be reported to the Child Protection Agency, and they should act on that. If you don't know what these people are doing, they're taking your words. They're trying to own them. Remember the pronoun issue in Canada? In the UK and other places, they're trying to own your speech. So if you don't call me they, I'm offended. You bullied me because I'm saying refer to me as they. Can you imagine how moronic, crazy, idiotic, stupid, and sick these people are? To say that I must look at an individual, singular, and not say him or he. I must say they, a plural pronoun. And you English people accept that, because if you don't accept it, it's bullying. Why then? Why then would I waste my time to send my child to school? Why teach my child in the classroom that they is a plural pronoun? But when a homosexual says, call me they, your child must switch your teaching. Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Thank you, Inspector. They are sick. And there is no law. I'm telling you, I'm not speaking from the Bible tonight. I'm speaking to you from the policy and from law. There is no law that demands that I call you what you want. The law in Guyana, I think it's Article 149, governs or guides my freedom of speech. I have the right to tell you I don't agree with you. That's the law. That is the law. That's not called bullying, it's called exercising my freedom of speech. But the older folk, bullying to mean physically trying to do things to people. No. Or trying to always harass somebody with your words. That is no longer what bullying is. Please get it right tonight. Or whenever you're watching a rebroadcast. Bullying is no longer what you say it is. Why? Why must I relinquish my freedom of speech to appear to be a loving person to those who hate themselves? I agree. I would ask that homeschooling be permitted so that certain people don't have to deal with this. Keep us out of the prison. I do not teach my children tolerance. I teach my children truth. I repeat, I do not teach my children tolerance. I teach my children truth. I do not teach my children tolerance. My children are taught truth. The truth is a boy can never be a girl. A girl cannot be a boy. Homosexuality is wrong. It is disgusting. It is hazardous to human health. That's the truth. Your vagina was not made to rub against another vagina. That's the truth. It's made to accommodate a penis when you're old enough, you're mature, you're married. That's the truth. Your anus is for ejection, not taking penis inside of it. That's the truth. I teach my children the truth. I don't teach them tolerance. So anybody who acts contrary to the truth, my child don't tolerate you. My child does not tolerate your behavior. You don't ever teach your child tolerance. I don't teach my child acceptance. I teach my child what's appropriate. According to law and the Lord's way. You're not going to get me to sit and just pretend as though these issues are not existing. Where are you preachers? I ask you again on this broadcast, what bothers you all? You Jesus crew, what bothers, does anything affect you? Here in Guyana? Can anything make you talk? What bothers you? I'm the bad one according to y'all. And my voice is louder than yours in this matter. What bothers you? When you're going to tell me that I'm supposed to protect somebody, meaning I should not address their behavior as being wrong, I will not protect them because they know that they're wrong. Do you know that many of you parents who are so ignorant and emotional that you are agreeing with population control, a European construct to destroy families? The elitist mentality, you think this is a game. The elitists of the world feel that they have a right to control the world's population. They believe that they can spread certain agendas to make people stop making children, and the main one is homosexuality. Sterilizing people as well. Why do you think they're spending so much money? As Reginald Wells said, they are spending, there are a lot of grants, there are a lot of loans, there are a lot of money being given, not even loans, grant, they're giving you money like crazy for you to promote this among your population. Why? Because they know it controls the population. Get to know these people. They are perverted from the top down. Since you want some history, in the Caribbean, in Guyana, do you know, are you aware that your foreparents were brought here? The only people who are natives to Guyana are the Amerindians. Everybody else came here. You were brought here by Europeans. You taught me that in school. That's it, Anthony. Put two homosexuals on an island, both of them will be dead. No child will be formed. You were brought here. Your ancestors were, you came in the loins of your ancestors. Get this straight. If that happens, when that happened, there was a plan to control you, your ancestors, our ancestors. They beat them into subjection. They tortured and killed them so they could be subjected to their will. In today's society, they use economic slavery to do the same thing. And because your politicians want power, they put your moral standards to the guillotine. They put it to the gallows. They would hang your morals just so they could say that they built the roads. Let me ask you something. And this is not a segue. I'm asking those who have common sense. Do you hear, now the political season is ripe in Guyana, election season. Do you understand that politicians in this country have the nerve to receive a grant or a loan to build the roads in your community? Then they praise themselves and say, we built the road for you, when you paying the loan for it. Do you see how these people are sick and setting you all up? If they got a loan to build the road in your community, they're not paying the loan, you're paying it because you're a taxpayer. Your offspring will pay it. Your generations will pay it. But at elections they say, we built the road. And you educated people are going to applaud persons who are taking your money to serve you? If they build the road, then you shouldn't have to pay for it. There should be no taxes levied against you to pay for the road they built. Now, when you have people with such warped minds, hell-bent on deceiving you, you still call them great men of God, and you trust them? I'm telling you, they're taking these money from these people and they're putting your morality at the stake. They're burning it. This began, and there's a report that I received. There was a meeting at the Bishop's High School years ago when abortion was being debated. It wasn't legal in Guyana yet. The president of that at that time was Cherry Jagan of the PPP. There was a meeting, a forum held at British High School, the Bishop's High School in Carmichael Street, I think it is, Georgetown, Guyana. At that forum, a woman from the church said to the president, "Sir, you know, you're a doctor. You know that abortion is the killing of a child in the womb of a mother. You know that because you know you're a doctor. You know that what these people are forcing you to do from the US and those places is to kill our children in Guyana in the womb." The report I got is that Cherry Jagan said to the woman, "Do you have $20 million to give me now?" Because that's what they're giving to fund certain ventures in Guyana. He said, "Ma'am, although I know what you're saying is the case, this country has a need. If you don't have $20 million to give to me, then I can't help you." That's where this began, according to that report. You don't understand. When Forbes Burnham said he doesn't want the IMF's money, it was not because he's a bad man, because he saw exactly what our leaders are doing to us today. He saw it down the road, that these European devils will tell you to take money and control your actions afterwards. Guyana is tied by her neck. Do what they say or else. These agencies are funded. There was a complaint made to the court that I am preventing some people from getting funding because of my objection. This is about funding. And these politicians could look at you in your face and say, "We did that for you." The blood of your children is doing it in some cases. The morality of your children is doing it in some cases. And preachers are quiet. Because you're getting paid too. You want a US visa. You want a British visa. You don't want to put your visa at risk. You're scared. How about you preachers asking the British High Commissioner, how could you, Quinn, how could you, Gregory Quinn, your people, enslave us? Build your palaces on the blood of our fathers. Build canals around Joshua on the blood of the back of our fathers. And then you could come to our country without a visa. But we must get a visa to go to yours? Why you preachers can't talk about that? You're scared. You're afraid they won't get a visa. That's what the president should tell Quinn. Not accept his foolishness, but men should be burgering one another and have rights and all kind of garbage. No, you tell us, Quinn, if you love people so much, why aren't you telling England? You're all wrong, man. We enslave these people. And now we tell them they have to pay to come to England, but we could come here visa-free? Talk that. Why must those who enslave you come to your country without issue? But you must have to have an interview at the embassy or the commission before you visit theirs. You preachers are the most jellyback, fearful chickens I know. I have zero fear. That's why they call me crazy, because I'm labeled based on what they know they can't handle. I am not afraid of any one of you. The most you could do is take my life. Then what? Technology remains, my words will not die. What's there to fear with y'all? I'm grateful that you heard this evening those things that concern me and where I stand regarding bullying as defined by these perverts, because they're the ones who brought it up. If you are going to tell me, for the last time I'm telling you, that when I say that your behavior as a lesbian is wrong, that's called bullying, then you should be bullied, because I will not say it's right. And my child will not say it's right. And if any one of you dare to drag my child to any office for bullying because she said that she doesn't accept the behavior, you'll see me. And you don't want to see me. Now, should a child be harassing another one physically and punching you in the face? No, it shouldn't. But I'm saying, in relation to the definition by these sodomites, my children, your children, all children should bully lesbians because it shouldn't be in school. Bully gays because it shouldn't be in school. They should bully transgender because it shouldn't be in school. They should be told your actions are criminal, find somewhere for you to go. I'm not speaking for you to agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me or disagree. I'm not asking for your agreement. I'm saying to you where I stand. Perverts don't control my tongue. Demented, deranged, sick people do not control my speech. And you don't control my children. I thank you for listening this evening. I appreciate the time you shared. Those of you who know me normally take this time for the arm session. I had to do this because some persons needed to get it clear from me. Because I know that they did not know honestly what bullying meant. But now you know. You've heard it from my mouth, where I stand on this matter. They should not be in the school because they're labeled criminals. Don't tell me that they're not committing the act because you know better. If a homosexual is homosexual because he's attracted to or she's attracted to the same sex, then why in the world, again, would the Ministry of Public Health Guyana be taking taxpayers' money to distribute the pre-ed or the PrEP, I think it's called the PrEP pill, to homosexual males because they're the most vulnerable group for contracting HIV? How do you contract HIV from just being attracted to a man? You think people are stupid? Thank you, Daddy. I received that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, my Father. And with your encouragement, I shall not stop. If homosexuality and lesbianism is just by, they're not doing anything, it's just if you're attracted. So where? Why would you take my taxpayers' money to buy PrEP pills to give to men who bugger one another because they can contract HIV? No, don't give them any PrEP pill because it's just attraction, it's not action. You really think Guyanese are stupid people, don't you? The sad thing is, they elected you all to insult their intelligence. Thank you. I bid you a good evening, and I hope that this brought redress and expected clarity. I hope so. Goodbye. To the saints, I bid you shalom. Thank you so much for your time.